Disclaimer. The video that you're about to watch contains multiple instances of cringe and confusion. The clips contained in this video are terrible recreations of some events that had happened. For proper context, the following images will show the characters that we'll be representing for. Child labor. Something that shouldn't have happened to begin with. But damn, it was still a good thing it happened. Not for the kids, of course. This is a quote said by my friend when I mentioned this project to him. He isn't wrong, let's be honest there. Let's get back to the topic. Child labor. What is it, you ask? Well, it's basically the employment and exploitation of children back in the 1800s. Child labor was a common thing in the industrial society since children as young as 4 years old were often employed in the factories and mines that developed during the time. All of this was happening in Britain, where Industrial Revolution first originated. Why children, though? Weren't the underpaid adults enough? Obviously no. Children were viewed to be more obedient towards the staff. They also proved to be very useful when it comes to reaching more smaller areas that average adults couldn't fit through. These are quite reasonable, but they were paid much less than an average adult worker in the workplace, and they were not protected by law, which resulted them in being physically abused by the other adults. How bad was it working as a child in these times? Well, these children were forced to work in terrible and dangerous conditions in the workplace, while also having a common work time of 14 hours. That's a lot, we all know that. Accidents still happen and would often result into kids being injured, suffering lifetime conditions, or even killed in the workplace. The injured children were often fired and were never given any type of assistance or compensation whatsoever. Basically, if you lose a leg, you're out of the job, and you will have nobody to support you financially whatsoever. As I mentioned before, children were paid less than an average adult, but by how much? Maybe this website will give us answers. I mean, I'm sure it's not that much of a dough. Well, it seems like in general, industrial workers were paid very small amounts. On average, the adult men were paid around 10 shillings per week, women being paid 5 for the same work, and children being paid just 1. Now, if we do simple maths here, that's gonna be 1 shilling divided by 7, since, there's 7 days in a week. That would be equal to 0.14 shillings. That means they made 0.14 shillings each day. I really shouldn't be trying here. Now if we go for 0.14 shillings divided by 14 hours, that is equal to 0.01. They're working 1 hour each time. Each hour they make 0.01 shillings. That's it. Now you might think a shilling might be worth like a lot, right? Well, it's not. You see, a single shilling would probably get you a pint of milk, or even half a loaf. If you ask me, working for a whole week just to get a drink or bread for the day, I don't know, it just doesn't seem so worth it. We reached a final question. Release the confetti! How did child labor sorta end in the Industrial Revolution? In 1833, rules were made to protect children in workplaces. Children under the age of 13 were not allowed to work, and hours for the kids' shifts were changed from 14 to 9 hours a day. In my opinion, this wasn't enough, but thankfully in 1904, National Child Labor Committee was born, and a campaign against child labor was made. They were able to convince the public's opinions and convince the lobbied state government to change the law against child labor. Now, comparing all the things the child worker had to go through to what the modern child workers are treated now would easily show a lot of good and fair changes. No physical harm, a more equal pay, safety rules and restrictions, a more strict time shift, and more businesses supporting their workers. It saddens me to see how the children were treated and what they had to all go through back then just to live out in the world. We can't do much about it, but we can all agree that these changes wouldn't have happened if it had never started back in the 1800s. So as said, the first words from my friend, he wasn't wrong. Okay. I know what you're thinking. Why was there a talking horse teaching me about child labor in the Industrial Revolution in such a fast pace? I'm just being myself. So, yeah, let me be. And two, this is for a project in school, so if you're a viewer in my channel, I'm sorry for the confusion, but I just felt like posting this here because I thought it deserved a place somewhere around this channel. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Whether you liked it or not, I appreciate it. My name is Yes, I censored it, but I still have no closer. Yes, I watched The War Owl.